Hello everyone, I'm Danielle. I'm the marketing coordinator at What Impact. Just want to thank everyone for being able to join us today. And we're just going to get into the What Impact system and impact reporting and just go through a couple of points today. Tia, have you got the PowerPoint ready to share?
I'm trying to share my slides now. The Teams again is a little bit slow. There's somebody trying to get in, so if you can let them get in.
People.
So I am joined here today by Mishka, the partnerships coordinator, Tia, our CEO, and Philip, our COO. Mishka, Tia, and I will be hosting this seminar today, and we hope that you guys learn something from what we're sharing.
Can everyone see the slides now? Can you see the slide?
Yeah, we can see the slides.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, good.
Okay, so for the agenda today, we're going to start with, I'll just give you a little bit of input into what Impact and what we do here. Then I'll carry on to talk about the current state of the SPF programme with Newport City Council. And then Tia will go on to talk about guidance and completing the impact reporting. Tia will go on to talk about guidance on completing your impact reporting, and then Mishka will give you a demo of the impact reporting and how to most efficiently complete it. And then some useful tips on measuring success effectively will be shared by Tia, and then just some VCSE feedback so far. So we're going to give you an opportunity to give us a Q&A, any feedback that you have for us on the system, and then insights from our latest VCSE survey on corporate partnerships will be handled by myself. So just to start with, what Impact? So we are a social value management system. A lot of you have been using us as through the grant making process. Just to let you know, you can still use the What Impact system. So we do match private sector companies with people that are looking with VCSEs within their local area that they're trying to enact social value in. So if you keep your profiles updated and constantly check for live offers on the What Impact platform, there might be a private company within where you operate that would like to match with you and continue to enact social value. So there's different ways they can do that. That might be through products, services, or money donations. And you can apply for different offers on the What Impact site as well. And just to move on to the current state of the SPF programme. So currently the SPF programme is closed for new applications. We are Newport City Council are still currently assessing a few more applications, but for the most part it is almost all applications are closed, and we are moving on to the impacts reporting side. Newport City Council are extremely happy with this, and they're happy with how many people have signed up. It's great to see the vast range of VCSEs that have joined and applied for projects, and the difference in vast scope of different projects that have gone on. It's been really nice to see, even me personally, so many things that I didn't know, because we're London based. It was nice to see what was going on in Newport and all the different causes that are there. And that is the current state of the SPF programme and what's going on. We are moving into the impact reporting, and there are deadlines for the impact reporting that Mishka will cover later. But I'll just pass over to our CEO Tia, and she'll take you through the next part.
Yeah, so really lovely to meet you all, and you know, these moments are the most important in our lives. We run this technology platform, but we do this to really kind of help your type of organizations to connect more efficiently with funding, volunteering, and all kind of other resources available. And that's why it's so lovely to kind of see you, the people who are actually delivering the impact on the ground. Yes, so a little bit about impact reporting. So kind of the beauty of What Impact is that when you set up your profile as a charity, social enterprise, or local community group, you fill in the basic profile part where you tell who you are as an organization, and then you can demonstrate different kind of programs as a separate kind of a page, what you will be looking funding or other support for. In this case, of course, Newport City Council had the Heritage, Culture and Sports grants that you were applying for successfully. Our impact reporting is connected on the platform to this match. So that moment when Newport City Council said that, yes, they choose you to be a grantee, your partnership was locked, and that enables now in your profile you to report back on the impact reporting system, which is semi-automated. And that's the good thing, is that it will capture all of your charity details and project details and how much you got money and so forth automatically. You don't have to repeat any of this. When you go to your profile and you hit the key report, you will be kind of filling in very well guided template that follows social impact logic model, and which is based on your theory of change, which I cover in this presentation. I'm sure many of you know these kind of theoretical concepts, and they are not complex concepts at all, but I wish to go through them in case there are some organizations who are kind of new to this. And our impact reporting suits any type of project and for any type of organization. And also you can use various types of data. So you don't have to kind of think that you have to do some scientific research to verify kind of your outcomes and impact. This is very practical approach, how you collect the data and what you should be submitting. The point here is to present kind of what kind of impact and outcomes your project actually achieved and some evidence of it. What was the scale of your project? So Newport City Council, can use this information to take forward. And since this is government funding, like central government funding, shared prosperity funding, which is meant for leveling up kind of activities, also Newport City Council and the Shared Prosperity Fund team in their end must report back to the government. And when you use this impact reporting system, your impact report will automatically appear on SPF funding steering groups, that kind of a special dashboard, so they can review it, and we will at What Impact help them to build this kind of a final report then, which will be published for the wider audience also in the beginning of next year. So you will be all mentioned there and your great impact will be visible. Yes. So this is kind of how this works. We will then log into a platform later in this presentation, and Miska will show you exactly how things work on the platform. But first, let's go to the kind of certain impact reporting principles. So you all have some kind of theory of change. You have all set up your organization with some kind of a change in mind, and you have like a method how you could be delivering that change. And that's now kind of the key in this impact reporting. You are kind of describing then the results of your theory, which kind of verifies that your theory was correct, so to speak. So we already have on your profiles and the project description, the information of who you are as an organization, who are your beneficiaries, where you operate, kind of what kind of outcomes you intend to deliver. So this is the intended delivery. But then kind of the how part, what you actually did, and kind of what verifies that your method works is kind of the theory of change. And this then leads to the actual impact reporting structure, which consists of social impact logic model, which is very logical. It's not complex, but it's a model that is being used not only in this kind of charitable impact measurement, but also in any kind of activities, any industries this could be used. So you kind of define what kind of inputs, which means resources you actually put in to this theory of change machine, and what kind of activities you then created with those resources. Then you get this kind of almost like a numerical KPIs, like the scale of the project, how many people reads, and how many events, and maybe how many buildings and so forth. These kind of numerical data of the scale of the project. Then you kind of focus into the outcomes, which are short and medium-term change that you were able to create in, let's say, within beneficiaries or maybe environment in some cases. What was the difference being made from when you started doing the project and when you ended it? What kind of evidence can you provide that something actually changed? And then the longer term impact is then kind of the like a long term impact of that short term change, because sometimes it's kind of like a domino effect that when something good happens in short term or medium term, it might have a much like a profound impact then on the longer term. And this is what social impact logic model is. You all kind of operate within this remit, whether you were using this theory name or not. But I just wanted to kind of explain this theory, because we have built the social impact reporting tool based on this method. And when we were originally developing this impact reporting, we were doing this together with National Council of Voluntary Organizations and the Impact Evaluation Department. So it's a large umbrella organization in the UK, and lots of both small and large charities and also grant makers were involved in developing it. So we are very comfortable with this reporting structure, that it is kind of valid and kind of what the this kind of charity sector can use. So now just a little bit, and you can ask now questions when I, during this slide. So sometimes one might think that, okay, where do we get all this data then, and how should we collect it? You might be running a very small charity, limited resources, and you kind of think that, okay, how can we collect, and we cannot hire some researcher to do this. You don't have to hire a researcher. Or any kind of outsourced resources to collect this data, and there is no straightforward answer. But when you keep your intended change in mind and you do your activities, think about how you could record in the beginning, kind of that what is the current state of the situation or people's lives, or some kind of situation what you're trying to improve. What is the starting point, so to speak, and how could you demonstrate it? I'm giving as an example that, let's say there is a school class and maybe 80% of the students cannot read properly, and then you as a charity come and support that school with some like reading program. You bring in extra volunteers to support the teacher and whatnot, kind of helping the students to read. So you would first define the starting point, then you think about the action, and then after your project reaches a certain point, you could then start measuring kind of how the reading capability was improved. But if we think about only numeric value, that maybe 80% couldn't read properly, and then eventually, maybe 60% could read properly. So the change in numerical terms is big, but that is only kind of in the measurement manners. It's kind of like a kind of output, so to speak. It's more of like a numerical change that you make, but what was the difference that made in those young people's lives? And this is then maybe better to interview maybe the students themselves. Maybe the teacher could be asking some predetermined questions. maybe the school could give a testimonial kind of how, where there are some other changes within the students because of this program. Maybe their parents would like to answer some survey and so forth. So just to see that what was the short or longer term change that happened because the reading skills were improved, because usually the challenge what we are actually solving is not the only change we make. It has the domino effect, which I mentioned, that it actually affects many other parts of life. Also, in certain, like let's say, like environmental projects, for instance, we might be thinking that all the impact is reducing carbon footprint and fighting climate change, but that's not the case. In many cases, green spaces and better air quality and so forth, they actually have huge impact on humans and people, their mental health, otherwise. Green spaces, make them do sports more and so forth. So kind of thinking about your own kind of theory of change again, why did you set up this organization and program in the first place? What's the difference you wanted to make? What are the key kind of indicators you could be measuring? And then you can kind of build either surveys, interview some third parties who might be able to confirm some changes, like the school example was that the teacher could be as a third party demonstrating that maybe the kids became more confident, maybe they kind of suddenly did very well also in math because they became confident in reading and so forth. So how could you capture this data? Also, case studies and testimonials are very important, and they are very important for also kind of course, for yourself, your volunteers to hear, kind of what kind of difference they've been making. You can use them in other fundraising kind of materials and activities to demonstrate kind of how the actual beneficiaries experienced the program. So if anybody has now questions about these kind of monitoring or measurement methods, I'm happy to answer. Sorry, I cannot see, by the way, because I'm sharing my screen, anybody's hand. So if somebody else could offer,
Basketball, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, sorry, that makes sense. I'm kind of kicking ourselves because I advised some of the coaches over the summer. We run some community camps and we run weekly community basketball. We bought a mic and we mic'd up a few of the kids, but we didn't ask. It was just more general. How are you finding the camp? Is this the first time you play basketball? Just some general things just to add to the video. And I'm looking now at our goals. So another example would be one of our goals is to create accessible basketball opportunities for all women and girls all year round. And then one of the activities, another one was to create a welcoming and comfortable environment ideal for personal growth. So via the interview with the camera, are we, with those type of questions, are we asking something as broad as how does these sessions make you feel? What would you be doing if these sessions wasn't here? Is that the type of interviewing? Sorry, that's probably going to be one of the best ones for us. I would like a few case studies and get a couple of quotes and things, but we found that young people, adults, everybody within the club don't mind just answering a few questions. So yeah, would that be suffice, as well as obviously a few stats from registers and then some case studies?
Yes, so absolutely. You will soon see the structure of the impact reporting, but first of all, your outputs, the numeric, the scale, you would be saying how many sessions is one KPI, how many people reads overall, whatever these kind of numeric values, you can look at your activity from different angles and get maybe you got 15 volunteers or something like that. So you want different KPIs. Then when you come to that kind of a short-term change, and if you have these statements that some people were saying, let's say that, oh, I would have been lonely the whole summer if I wasn't there, outcome would be that you have prevented loneliness during the, kind of the season when schools were not open or something. And then our system asks, how did you get this data? Although it's not very statistical data, but then you can say that it's through the interviews, interviewing the participant, or speaking with them or something. Observation, speaking with people, interviewing people is totally valid kind of a method. Of course, in this kind of professional research world, you would be looking for certain quantity of, so you wouldn't ask one person out of 100 and say that all 100 were totally happy and they weren't lonely either. But if you have some kind of like a sample, so to speak, that you've been interviewing several people from a certain group, it kind of indicates what kind of results your program was given. Yeah,
that makes a lot more sense.
So it doesn't mean that you have to speak with everybody, especially if the crowds are large or there is an event for thousands of people. You cannot ask everybody, but you kind of have to kind of think that what is a good ratio for the sample size, so to speak, that you are not generalizing something kind of without evidence.
I get you. And sorry, just on that, with the additional outcomes. So if there's things that we notice through interview, can we put that as an outcome, although we haven't put that already on our?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a good question. Okay. So whatever you kind of anticipated, you were saying that, oh, this is where we are aiming to be. That was in your project. We are aiming to build self-confidence, more basketball for women, If there are any other outcomes, you can list them. We allow you to do 3 direct outcomes, which are kind of direct change that your program created. But there is also an indirect outcome, and that means it's kind of like a byproduct. So sometimes, you didn't even intend to do that, but actually because something else happened, the people started to flourish in some other. So even byproduct in this case could be that if your aim was to create like basketball camps for women, and girls, you were able to create that. An outcome was that now you have basketball offering for females as well, and But indirect outcome could have been that actually also the volleyball club next door actually started providing female volleyball because they followed your example or something, or maybe I don't know what other the byproduct could be, but maybe the girls who participate in basketball actually picked up a running sport because they were so excited to start, kind of doing sports in more regular manner or something. So something that your activity kind of caused to happen, although it wasn't your primary intent. Then our impact reporting asks also negative impact. And sometimes people are saying that, of course, we are not going to list something that went wrong or we did, something didn't work. But in charitable work, this is especially important to be open to just say if you notice something that actually didn't work, because that always creates not only room for improvement, of course, but also it might even open avenues to create a new project. And I'll give you now a totally different kind of example, not any sports related, but let's say there are examples of this. That's why I'm using these like real life examples, that there might be some, let's say, services for immigrant women who don't speak English. They get together, they learn to speak English, but also they learn to cook English foods and stuff, and kind of better cater their children's needs who might have lived here in the UK for a long time and would like sometimes to be kind of they're used to English foods and culture, but their parents, because they don't speak the language, cannot engage. And when this happens, then that the women start to actually speak English and kind of they can actually become more part of the English society, suddenly the men are left out and they are not happy that this is happening. So that's the negative kind of outcome, that suddenly maybe there are disputes at home and something they might not be happy that, suddenly, their wife is out there socializing, but they are not. Even though it's negative, there is also always then kind of we have a kind of a development section there, that if this was a negative thing, what are you doing about it? So then the outcome would be, you could define that, okay, we acknowledge that there is a need for similar service for men, that they wouldn't be left out, and they would also be able to connect with different culture and improve their knowledge of, I don't know, English or some other aspects of the UK society. So it's not that you just say that, oh, we something didn't work out and that's bad. It's the learning what you got from there, or there comes an idea how you can then kind of improve that situation. And case study is as a you shouldn't mix case study with a testimonial. Case study should kind of demonstrate like one case of your work. So you could say that, and you never have to use, of course, names or any kind of information that identifies an individual. But you could say that the 9-year-old boy who wasn't very athletic or didn't have any friends and whatever was signed up to our basketball thing, and after 3 practices he realized that he has a real talent, and came every time you set up this, then it transformed his life to this, he made these friends, and and so that's kind of the the development path of this individual in your program, and you explain that. And then the testimonial is then maybe it can be the same beneficiary who is saying that this has been the best thing of my life. Maybe you ask a testimonial from their parents, how it changed. It might be the teacher or something that who is kind of, kind of giving some kind of a statement, like in a quotation, so to speak, and saying what, how they found your program, and giving that kind of a encouragement for you to continue further. Also, photographs and videos, like you were saying that you've been video interviewing stuff, they are really powerful. On our platform, you can save them on the profile, on your profile, and they will then appear also in the impact reporting. But also then when you are writing the case study and the testimonial, you can attach like certain photos to be accompanied, especially that particular, like a testimonial or written statement. Any other questions? Okay, well, maybe I now then give turn to Miska, and I will stop sharing, and she will actually open the platform so you can see what we are actually talking about.
Right, yeah, so I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm going to go through the kind of demonstration of the impact report, sort of from your perspective when you're creating it. And yeah, maybe if Danielle and Tia, you can just let me know if anyone raises their hand during this. Feel free to ask questions as I go along. Okay, so this is your dashboard on your profile, and you can see you've got social impact reporting here. I'm going to show you a really good example of an impact report that we've already received. So I think Mike's joined now. It's from Newport Cricket Club. So I'm just going to click on it here, and you can see the impact reporting is created for your activity. So if you have multiple projects, you'll see both of them. You just click view and create report. And when you're creating the report, you'll be asked whether you want to do a full or a short one, and you should always select the full report. Make sure you select the full report. Okay, and this is what you'll see. So you have your social impact report here and your media section here. So you can it's important to add some photos as evidence. Just make sure you've got permission for those photos of whoever's in them to be shared, as this will be shared with Newport City Council. Okay. So yeah, so there's some information here about the impact report, and you can also download the Word document. Everyone should have been emailed, and the Word document is really useful. It's just a replication of what you can see here, and you can use the Word document to, as you go along, record information about your activities, and you can then fill it out before and copy and paste it into the live platform. Okay, so I'll also just show you, as Tia showed you earlier, this is what your impact report will look like once it's published. I can see a question from Trevor there, if you want to just unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, sure. Can you just add to this as you go along? Like, you don't have, as soon as you've done a little bit, you can put it down and then tackle it a day later or an hour later, something like that. Once you close it, it's not signed and sealed and delivered, is it?
So in order, and that's something I'll cover when I'm kind of, as you can see, there's the asterisks here showing the mandatory fields, and you have to have all of those filled in for the report to actually save. So I would recommend, if you want to do it as you go along, to use the Word document, I would say. And then once you've got sort of a complete report, then input it.
Yeah,
online,
that's a bit of a hassle for me, because the way I work and operate, it's not logical, if you know what I mean. And you know, I like to sort of like just do a little bit, and I think, yeah, I can't handle this anymore. Go back to it a little bit later.
Yeah.
All these different. I'm a disabled guy, and I've only got limited sort of like abilities, right, with my hand and my mind. To keep all this together is not the easiest thing in the world. And every time, you know, so far, I'll be very honest with you, that even put in the application, which for our social, for what impact was extremely not very accessible for me, and really complicated. And I had to call your guys out on a couple of occasions to come and handhold me. And to do, I don't want to keep doing that all the time, because I don't want to be a pain. And you know,
So Trevor,
if I do a little bit at a time, it's just not acceptable, no?
Yes, it is kind of, but I would say, first of all, Trevor, that we are happy to help, and this is our job, so don't worry about that. You have two options. So first of all, if you were to first fill things on the Word document, which you can also print and even write as a handwriting, depending which
Word document's this?
Yeah, so Mishka has been sending this over email, or if you log in the platform, you can kind of download it. Can you click it, Mishka, on the platform and show where it is? So it's there in the text. You can download it as just a Word document. If you want to even print it and you know, scribble by hand, you know, and kind of collect the data, that's fine. And then when you actually start filling in the report on the platform, then you can fill in those data fields first that have the asterisks in it, because you have to fill in just certain details that it saves. It doesn't require everything. It's only certain data fields that it kind of saves the report.
Yeah, sorry, you've lost me already. So I'll just sit here and go through it. And
yeah, but also if you need any help, and you even tell these things to us verbally over the call, we will help, because we understand that, you know, there are limitations, disabilities. Some people don't, they are not very strong with computers, or they might have even that kind of a computer that serves the purpose. So don't kind of feel pressured. We will help.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tia. So yeah, as mentioned, this is the Word document, which you can use as you go along. And you can also, so this report has been published, and you can go back and make edits to it and make changes once you've filled out as much information as you have. Okay, so the first thing you'll be asked is your impact reporting period. So if it's an ongoing event, so in this case it's across a year, it might be across a few weeks or a few months, or perhaps you're doing a one-off event, it might just be across a few days. So it's the period where you'll be actually measuring your impact. How many volunteers contributed. So like it said here, again, you can see the asterisks here. This is a mandatory field to fill in. So, and it says here, not only volunteers from a single organisation. So if you've got different volunteers to help with a specific programme or specific event, include that here. And then context, background and challenges you're addressing, and where you can give people an idea of the scale of the problem or challenge. So I think in this part you can really try and include numbers and data about the challenges that you're addressing and who you're aiming to help. So as you can see here, cricket participation numbers have declined nationally. You could have like maybe a numerical indication of how they've declined there as well. And then you've got baseline indicators of the challenge. So again, facts, statistics and references, so where you've got that information from. So from the Welsh Government, the health implications and the cost of physical inactivity. And then here, comment on the overall success of the project during the reporting period. So again, that's a more, as it says here, holistic overview, more of a, more of a, wordy, you don't need to include your numbers here, an overview of the impact and what you've done. So like you can see here on the published one, this will show you your kind of overview. That's the first thing that Newport City Council, that people who are viewing your impact report will see. Okay, the next part, so there's no asterisks here, which means it's not a mandatory field. Monetized social value is just if you work with social value calculators to create a financial social value cost, but if you don't do that, you don't need to worry about that part, and you can skip it. So next, again, an asterisk, and as Tia was talking about earlier, we've got outputs. So yeah, you should try and have at least 3 outputs. So here, the type of the output is new teams created, and how many have been created, since the start date of the activity. So if it's a program that you already had set up, you might have created, you might be running, you might have 10 teams, say, and then during the reporting period, you might have added 5 to that. Or if the money, the grant money is kind of helping you set up a program, then that'll be, the total number of teams. So, and I think, again, you can see here how it'll appear on your actual impact report. So it'll have 5 new teams created, 38 more girls participating in cricket, and 23 more boys participating in cricket. So, the numerical value of your program. And yeah, so as you can see, you can add another output. You can add more than 3 if you like, but yeah, I would say 3 is a good number to have. So, and then onto your direct outcomes. Again, as Tia was talking about earlier, you've got to have at least 1. As you can see here, again, the asterisk means that it's mandatory. So a major change that this activity delivers. So here we've got girls' participation increased in every age group by 400%, and 4 new girls teams created. So yeah, the short-term, medium outcome, what you're aiming to do. It's only 350 characters. It's not very long, so keep things really concise but also precise. Target exactly what you've done in your program. And then you've also got a chance to add more details here, what you learnt during the period, who you worked with. Perhaps you worked with schools or other organisations, and if there's any future research that might be conducted based on this outcome. Okay, again, another mandatory field, and how was this outcome measured? So this is what Tia was talking about in terms of, you've got the drop-down menu here, and you can choose a quantitative survey, a qualitative survey. It could be something as simple as observational testimonials, or it could be a statistics comparison, as we've got here. So yeah, if you're running a sports event and you're recording the number of people attending each session, and you can also attach proof to that. So here there's a PDF document just showing a simple chart of who's attending the sessions, or perhaps a record of how many people have attended. So yeah, there's lots of options for measuring your outcome, and you can write about your details here and attach proof here. And then here you're choosing a framework. So the framework for all of these ones are Government Share Prosperity Fund, because this is a Share Prosperity Fund grant scheme. And the model award criteria, the only option is communities in place. And we're going to go through after this demonstration more specifically how to match each of these W's to your outcome. So don't worry about that for now, but you want to select. So here it's quite straightforward. You're funding local sports facilities, tournaments and teams. So the one that matches the activity that you're doing. And then you've got the option to add another direct outcome. So here it's an increase in participation among boys in the club's under 5 to under 8 group. And again, extra details, how it was measured. So again, here it's a statistics comparison. It could be a different one to your other outcome, and describe how you did that measurement, and linking proof. So the link or attachment isn't a mandatory field, but is a really good visible way for Newport City Council to see how you've recorded this information. So if it was if you were interviewing people, you could attach a transcription of the interview, for example, and again choosing the framework. And yeah, there's another direct outcome. So yeah, I think having multiple direct outcomes is a really good way to show you what you've done and what you've achieved. One is the minimum necessary. So yeah, as Trevor was talking about it, if you wanted to add one direct outcome, if your project's ongoing, and then later you can come back and add more. And this outcome was measured using testimonials. So a partner of the program has given their review of their involvement in it. Okay, and then we move on to indirect outcomes. So as you can see, there's no asterisk. So this isn't a mandatory field, but as we spoke about, if you've noticed any indirect outcomes, it's a great chance to talk about spin-offs or things that weren't necessarily your original intention. So here it's an additional spin-off has seen the involvement of a number of parents in the club's activities. So yeah, that's a really great one. You weren't targeting the parents of the young people involved, but they have been, and they've become involved in the club. So they've joined the club's coaching team. They're playing a vital role in helping to run the girls under 12 team. So again, another short to medium outcome that's indirect to your original activity. And again, indicate how this has been measured. So something as simple as observation, or perhaps testimonials, speaking with parents, how many of them have joined. And again, you have to match it to the right framework, and you can upload any proof. Okay, negative outcomes. So as you can see, there's no asterisk. This isn't a mandatory field, but as Tia said, it can be a really important and useful thing to fill in if there's, it's not necessarily saying that your activity has failed, just anything you've noticed that hasn't gone as well, or something that could be improved for next time, because it kind of goes along with this section, which is mandatory, which is your key learnings. So, here they've learned that girls cricket is growing rapidly. There's a huge appetite for it. How can that help you in future projects? What can you learn from what you've done? Okay, and then we move on to impact. So describe any longer term impact as a result of your organisation's work. So here it is, giving more girls the opportunity to play cricket, promoting tangible equal opportunities in sports. So, you know, a longer, broader kind of impact on society, as opposed to the more sort of short-term direct outcomes that you indicated when you were applying for your grants, about who you're going to help. So this sort of links to your theory of change and what you're, you know, how you're aiming to change things in your specific area. So for this, it's, you know, getting more people involved in cricket and in sport. And again, your impact in a nutshell. So just a you know, a short punchy statement on what you've done, and I'll just show you again where this will appear on your published impact report. So yeah, you've got, like you can see here, you want to kind of be summing up what you've done here. Okay, and then we'll move on to case example. Again, another asterisk, which means it's a mandatory field. And this is, you know, providing a case study, a real life story of someone that's been impacted by your program or your project. So here we worked with, they worked with unaccompanied asylum seeking children. So they worked with another organisation supporting Afghan refugees, and they helped someone called Irfan in the program. He attended every training session, he played in the junior team, his English improved hugely. So highlighting how it's helped a specific person is, you know, it's a really nice way to, you know, attach your program to a real story. And a name, this can be anonymous. You don't have to use someone's real name if they wish to remain anonymous, and just who they are. And again, an image to go alongside that. And then we go on to the testimonial. So this could be from, again, from a beneficiary, but it also could be from someone you've worked with. It could be from an employee, yeah, someone who's been involved in the project or activity. So here we've got someone who's someone from the unaccompanied asylum seeking children organisation who the cricket club have worked with. And yeah, she's just describing again how this project, how this has helped, yeah, a kind of written statement from someone involved in the project. And again, you can attach an image to add to that. Okay, and again, I'll just show you how that appears on your published impact report. You've got the testimonial here and the case example here. So a really nice kind of summation at the end of your report to show, you know, who is an example of who you've helped. And then you've got here the option to save draft. So as Trevor asked, you could, you know, fill out some information and go back to it another time, but just please make sure that you filled out all of the data fields marked with an asterisk, because otherwise your information won't save. And you can also click save all changes, and then you'll be asked to publish your report, which makes it visible to Newport City Council. But again, once it's been published, you can come back and add different information if you would like. Yeah, so I think that's the whole report, and I've shown you what it looks like after. Are there any questions at this point that anyone would like to ask? You can see IHC admin.
Yeah. So there's a question, Bevington.
You're on mute, IHC. You're on mute at the minute. We still can't hear you. I can unmute you, actually, I think.
Yeah, it shows that you are mute. Oh, now not anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Sorry. I am contacting from a different computer. That's why it's saying IHC. The actual name is Magmatic Stories.
Okay.
Yes, and my name is Bevin.
Okay, yes.
My quick question is, I think I've got an interim report that's due today. but our project start date is supposed to be from July to December.
Yeah.
Right. So at the moment, we are still at the planning stage.
Yes,
and
you
yet we
shouldn't
got
be
a-
reporting yet. No, you will be reporting later this year. So latest in December. Yeah. So you shouldn't report at this stage if this is the stage. So it must be kind of our mistake then. No point of reporting.
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yeah, that was worrying.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank
no.
you.
Yeah. Who was there, Lauren? Oh no, it's Joe. Sorry, Joe, it's your turn.
That's all good. Hi. I've basically got the same problem. Our project doesn't end until the end of November, but they're asking for the check today, and they're asking for the completion report kind of before then. So I was wondering, do I need to get in touch with someone?
No, Miska will make now a note of this. So we are trying to now review every project and see where they are at. First of all, we are trying to get the impact reports done by the end of, kind of December. Yeah. But there is also, if the projects are in kind of end states or they have ended, like some of them have, please report as soon as you can, because we will start to utilize the data and building that kind of a overall report. We use your photos and everything. So it would be making it easier that not everything comes like the last minute, so to speak. But if you still run a project, you don't have like statistics, you cannot kind of measure the impact and so forth, absolutely you are not reporting yet. If you have a program that, because some of these programs might go to next spring, we cannot wait that far, so you will be working with the information what you have at this moment, and you don't have to worry about that. Is the council now looking that, or did you reach exactly the number of people that you originally said, because the project is ongoing, but we are more interested in the outcomes of the project, that how has it changed people's life and what's the difference and so forth. Everybody understands, like in this example report, that the cricket is running still May till 25, although they have reported already now. Yeah, because we need to report back to the shared prosperity fund and stuff. So although the projects are ongoing, we still have to report kind of the outcomes, and I'll soon show you what are the outcomes that they are looking for.
So we're
yeah.
expected to kind of reflect on the project before the project's finished. Is that what we're being asked to do?
Well, if you are finishing in the end of December, then you could technically report then.
Cool.
Yeah.
My only confusion is because the report at the moment says I have to report it during the project. That's
so there are a couple of things, and this is a very good question. So first of all, of course, in general, in impact reporting, you would finalize something and report. It's kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. But in this scenario, when this funding, like in the cricket case, it will run till the May, we have to report to the government before May. So then we have to get kind of so-called interim report. And nobody's going to challenge that, oh, you didn't meet like 500 kids because you only got 300 so far. That's not anything that anybody's going to be challenging based on the reports. It's not that somebody's unhappy with you guys. We are more interested in getting that qualitative data on the, the change that this process already have made. Yeah, but that's just because of the reporting requirements.
My only concern is for myself and other projects where if it is in early, there's no time for the change to have occurred.
Yeah, understand. I understand. Yeah, I do understand. It's just I don't know. What is your project, by the way?
I work for the Hold Up, and we're working with Engage, a substance misuse project in Newport.
Yeah. Yeah. So, have you started the project?
Yeah, we've started it. I'm just concerned that we'll be in the project and have to ask them to reflect on their journey.
Yeah, I understand, like too early, yeah. But we can discuss that and stuff. But it is then what it is, and also because this reporting, you decide what you write. So there are more there is like a success from even the first success. You can say that the project it will be run till, I don't know, May 25, but the success of this reporting period, the first half year of this, has shown that there is so the whole report kind of indicates how your program has started, but it's not like a final report. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why we ask also the impact reporting, and you can just verbalize that. Like I said, nobody's coming to you challenging your program based on that. We just need the information to demonstrate that these kind of programs were, kind of funded. These were finished. These are still ongoing. We will be mentioning all that in the report. Lauren.
Hi guys, thanks. So it's just 3 things just to clarify. So our project is finished. So when we put the start, it'll be the start date of when we said our project was going to be delivered, and then the end date, say the end of this month, I get the report in. Only need to do all of the ones with stars, the hashtags. Yeah. And then the last one was, because I wasn't sure, I didn't see it. Do you know when you've got to click the chosen, the framework is, every single one is the government shared prosperity fund, yeah?
Yeah, I will show, I will explain. I have a slide about it. So I will go through that after we have this Q&A session.
Okay, cool. That was it. Thank you.
Mary?
Hi, thanks guys. Yeah, it was very similar questions to Joe, in that we've literally just started our project this week.
Yeah.
And this runs to August of next month. So very much like what Joe said, I don't foresee many of the outcomes that we've put down happening in the next 3 months. But as long as that, you've already explained that you're aware of that. So when we do that report, because I think it says on our platform that you want something from us next month. Obviously, I'm not going to have anything to give you next month.
Yeah.
But you need a report. Did you say by December?
Yeah. So what I'm saying that, if you are ready to report, depending on the program, kind of, if you like, there are programs that are finished and they can interview people based on what happened like this last summer, and the evidence is there based on, and that would be, we are not looking you to monitor the long-term impact now, because it's not possible within these time frames that you bring evidence from the impact, but the outcomes you will be able to and demonstrate the outcomes so far. So please report if you can. If you are speaking with your beneficiaries, you're doing surveys and stuff, you get the data and you could be reporting. But December is the month that we propose that everybody reports. Otherwise, it's just the time frame of this project. And, everybody has some data to report because the programs are ongoing.
And I would just add to that you can create another report, in a year's time at the end of your project, but it's important to have, at least one by December, but you don't need to worry if you don't have all of the data, as Tia said.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
By the way, if you're creating, and that's the beauty of this reporting tool, if you create now a report and you fill it in and stuff, next time you create it, you can duplicate it, and then you just change what has changed. You know what I'm saying? That it kind of has the data what you once put in. You don't have to start from the scratch. So you can modify and put like more outputs and stuff. So it's been built like that you don't have to start from the beginning if you wanna do first like an interim report and then you do some final report. But this particular program now for Newport City Council, we will be providing that end report then around like January or something, where we collect kind of all the data and analyze it and so forth. Yeah, but you are not being challenged about the KPIs based on that, because everybody understands that some of the projects are still running. Okay, Trevor?
Okay, thanks for that. Listen, am I understand this correctly? That an interim report is not we're not obliged to do an interim report.
No, yeah.
Just
yes.
a final report. But
yes.
because our project is ongoing, because there's some complication, because we're running a sharing cultural diversity project, where we've got a group of guys, disabled guys, coming over from Kenya, and because some of them didn't even have birth certificates in the region where we work, we've had to get all them and get their passports and then get visas, and there's visa delays, and because it might overrun to a later date than what we originally planned, we'll still have to put in a report at the end of by the end of December with exactly what's been going on and what's been happening.
Yes, so we are happy with one report, but if the project continues, I think that could be called interim report because the project hasn't been finalized. But one report, you know, whether it's the final, if you run the project through, you have the data, or then it's still going on and you want to create an interim report. We will not be, based on this project now, we are not going to be chasing you next summer for the final report. The one report is enough for this program.
Okay, cheers.
Joanne, would you like to?
Hi, yeah, sorry, I popped this in the chat, but I thought I'd just ask the question as well. We've only just been agreed or just been offered the funding, and it was significantly less than what we originally requested. So we were looking to hire someone full time, but we've only managed to get a quarter of what we requested. So now we're having to really rejig and really rethink the whole project on how we can still sort of provide some deliverables, but based on essentially a quarter of the funding. And it's left us in a bit of a pickle, because whereas before we would just look to employ someone and that is relatively straightforward, now we haven't got quite enough to employ anyone. So we're having to try and rely on volunteers and what, you know, covering their expenses or what have you. And we're not really in a position where we can offer extra hours to anyone. So we're still sort of figuring out how we can make the project work and everything based on what we've been offered. So ours hasn't yet started. And looking at just like our volunteers who we think we can engage with it, we know that they've got, one of them in particular has got like an operation coming up, so she may not be able to start until actually December time. So this is the sort of timeframes we're looking at. So we're not really going to be able to we may not be able to start it for a while. Where does that sort of leave us? What can we do with that?
So you like I said, you won't be like challenged by that, because that's just the realism. But I would do so that you know, first of all, Miska will make now a note of this, because we will then inform Newport City Council about it. But whatever you have then in December, you would be just reporting, and you can, because there is room for you to kind of describe it then what you have. Because there are still months to go, you might be able to find some supportive funding. Yeah, you might be finding new people. You might be there. Things might be changing. So whatever the situation at that stage is, but you know, I cannot say anything else, unfortunately.
No, that's fine. You know, so is it end of December? You'd like something, is it?
Yes. Well, we would like to have before Christmas, to be honest, but we understand we have to get back on this, and so what I'm like saying that waiting 2 or 3 weeks more than less, you know, doesn't make a difference really. That if you have projects running at some level, there is data to be obtained. So please try to report before Christmas. If that's impossible, then we then you report after the Christmas. But like I said, we need to report on the project to the government. Okay, I believe I'm going back to the presentation.
I think we have more questions here from David.
Oh, I cannot see hands.
Sorry, just one more question from David.
Yeah.
Well, just a quick question, just to clarify. Our project, it's also about timing. Our project is only really going to be getting going up towards when we close for the winter because it's very cold and we reopen in the spring. So I can do an interim report by December on a few weeks of activity. But did I gather you to say we don't need to do a final report after that? You only require the report by December?
Yes,
it makes sense to give you another report in.
Well, it does make sense. And I don't want to contradict making sense and making sense with the government programs. So I'm explaining this. So leveling up, this program in general, which was created by the past government, that will end overall March 25. All the funding has to be spent and
Right.
So there is, all these organizations have been built around this kind of almost like cease to exist, so to speak, because the program is like over. If there will be another funding scheme, it might be it might be named different. I don't know whether the same people will be working. So technically there wouldn't be like shared prosperity fund organization to receive the report. Newport City Council technically would be, as a council, but this shared prosperity fund is like a different team. So we need to discuss them. That is there, because we don't want to, of course, ask you to report for their purposes if nobody's going to read it. But what I would like to say to you about this report, that Miska, could you actually share your screen again? Because this is not only for this one purpose. Our platform has been designed originally for charities to be able to report to multiple donors with the same reporting tool. And you can share your report anywhere by using a link. So if you go look at here, there are orange buttons. It says share link. And if you click that link, Miska, and put it on the chat, you have this kind of shareable link from your impact reporting. And I think this is very handy because you might have other funders for your project, or you might be seeking for funding, and you can say to other funders and say that, oh, here's a link, check what kind of results we have been able to deliver for this project. It's an evidence of your impact. The link below, it says the download report. If you click that, it will automatically save everything you've written into a Word document and puts it to a download folder. And you will get this kind of a very well structured Word document of everything you just said, but also it has all the details of your activity, about the funding and all that. So it's a document that you can use as a case study, so to speak. And here is, you can see that all the data. So this is not like vanishing in the air. This is your asset. You have your charity profile. It's always free. You can use your profile. You can use this impact reporting, and even if somebody else supports this program, you can report back with the impact reporting tool to them, and it's easy to report because all the data originally is already there, and you just modify it and stuff. So it's not kind of wasted energy, so to speak. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if we did want to do a final report in the similar format, would the structure still be there, say in June next year?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. We are not deleting it. No. Okay. No. You can do that.
Thank you.
Okay. I will now share my screen and trying to find the Richard.
Yeah.
it's not a reporting related question. Actually, it's a delivering related question, because I've noticed there's some Newport local sports organisations here, and I'd love to involve them in our project.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
I noticed the cricket club, and I'm not sure if there are others, but if anyone wants to take part in our program for this, which is delivering to local underprivileged kids and trying to get them inspired into taking up sport, taking up new sports, and we're going to be kicking off the program shortly in the next few weeks. I'd love to have you guys involved, cricket and anyone else. So please drop me a message on this. Is that the easiest way? I guess so.
Yeah, but you could. I was going to say you could put your email in the chat for anyone to reach out to you.
That's a good idea. I would do that.
Thanks.
Thank you. And Kechi, you had a question?
Yes, sure. Hi, Tia, Danielle, Mishka. How are you? It's great. Kechi from Kinevin Pamoja. Just a quick question around the reporting period, please, Tia. Is that period from when the funding was given to us, or is that the period from when the planning of the project started up until execution?
Well, it's pretty much up to you. So I would say that, kind of, because if you got a funding for the whole program and you are doing planning and what up till now, it would be from the planning to up till now. Then there are programs that might be running, like let's say the ballet, which has been running, and you kind of got the funding and you are kind of now using the funding, let's say since June to whatever, you would choose that. It's not so important, so to speak, but if you're not able to demonstrate the whole project period, like many people were now discussing, it's quite good to then put that period what you are actually reporting on, which indicates then that you are not reporting on the success of the whole project, just certain period. And when it says here, there is that info bubble or this kind of a text field which says, describe the overall success of the project during this reporting period. That's, I think, very important that you mentioned there that during this first quarter of this period, or like the halfway of our project delivery, we've been able to do this and that. So you can then indicate there that the project is still ongoing.
Perfect. Thank you, Tia. That makes sense. Thank you so much. And then in terms of the reporting template, it asks you to do a shorter report, or to add in a more detailed report.
Longer report. Choose always longer report. The short report, we have created two reports. They are identical kind of, but the short report is for this kind of much smaller donations, like somebody. Yeah, but you've been all given, kind of certain amount of money, so the longer would be suitable.
Excellent. Thanks, Tia. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any more hands? Because I cannot see. I'm under.
There's one more. Mary's hands up. Is it still up? Oh, okay. I think it's an accident. We can move on to
Okay.
Sorry, my mistake. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so you saw in the impact reporting that there are these. It says that what is the framework? You choose the Government Prosperity Fund framework because that's what we are fulfilling, and it only then there is kind of like a selection of I think what theme or something, but it's communities and place. What you saw, it was only option. Then there are these so-called Ws. These are these kind of outcomes that you would match your outcome with. And again, this is not like a super scientific method, but it's kind of like let's say if you had the cricket thing, it was connected to this support local arts, culture, heritage, it wasn't support, it was sports. It was this funding local sports facilities and whatever. If you are working, you know, in arts, some culture events or something, you would choose this one, so forth. So just read through this, and if you're reporting several outcomes, you can choose different W's for them if you feel that some W is better for something else, and one W is better than to some other outcome. But this is just something that when we are reporting, our system automatically captures that, you know, kind of what W's were supported, and we do this kind of analysis of that, because these are the outcome targets that the government has set up. Okay. All right. So we have still time. We had the questions and answers, but we wanted to utilize this time to kind of inform you, if you already haven't been aware of kind of government's social value in procurement type of legislation, which has been now mandatory already for some years, and it's really now picking up in local levels. So it means that like, let's say Newport City Council or any NHS in your area, fire rescue, police, university, it applies to them. So when they are looking for subcontractors, which they are a lot, delivering their services like building roads and you know, providing medical equipment to hospitals and vehicles and whatnot. Every single kind of a private sector organization who is bidding for these government tenders have to deliver a social value plan as part of the you know, the tendering process. And it means that when the companies kind of delivering their product plan and saying that this is the service or product we are delivering, all the qualities, there will be approximately 10 to even 30% scoring based on how good of a company they are and what are they going to do in local level in terms of community engagement, how they're going to be employing local people, how they're going to find supply chain partners, and what kind of environmental projects they have. And this early days, some years back, this was still a little bit like a ticker box thing that, you know, maybe something didn't then actually happen. But now there are a lot of enforcement on this, and there will be a new procurement act also, which is enhancing this. So every kind of government contract has to have the plan, and when they win the contract, it's been monitored. So this creates opportunities for local charities, social enterprises and initiatives, because whoever is a government contractor, they should technically volunteer more. They should kind of support your causes. They might be buying your services. They should be supporting you with products and services. And I'm just showing here, like, there are a lot of these kind of social value frameworks around, but this is like a central government's model, which is applied by central government plus also some local governments, and it's very similar to other frameworks what some local governments are kind of building. So just to demonstrate that pretty much all of your activities, what you are currently doing, fall into this remit, because the main kind of themes what the government wants to focus on is well-being, very overarching, climate change, equal opportunity, economic inequality, and of course there is still like COVID recovery in this government model, but it's basically about jobs, equal opportunity, you know, kind of health, well-being, environment, and finding local partners as a supply chain. So this is just demonstrates that this kind of vast charity sector, like there is now in Wales and in Newport, can be very kind of beneficial for bigger and smaller government contractors. Absolutely. Because they need to work with you. Yeah. So what we want to say, sorry, was it a question? No.
No.
Okay, yeah, so we just wanted to kind of inform you about this, and you know, that it's important that you are out there and you kind of have material to promote you, and even your profiles on our platform, you know, your basic profile and your project detail, they are also shareable links. Just copy paste the URL. And if you're approaching some companies, you can just share them and say also that, hey, here is a short description of what we do. We know that you have websites and stuff, but our profile structure has been built so that the companies instantly understand what are your projects and outcomes and beneficiaries and geographical reach. And that is now very important, because the government, when they say in the government contract that, okay, we want to help equal opportunity, and they want to have you know, more diverse, let's say, workforce, and maybe they want to give opportunities for, let's say, refugees or people in underprivileged conditions to participate in sports, for instance. Then if this is like a Newport City Council or some kind of local authority in your area, they want to see that the contractor who is bidding for their tender has a plan how they work with the local organization who can guarantee that the beneficiaries are in particular area. So they don't care if the organization has beneficiaries somewhere else in Wales, it has to be in Newport, you know. So that's why the local organizations or organizations who can deliver this kind of like a hyper-local approach and guarantee that their impact is being made in the certain geographical area, you know, are very much sought after. And that's why it's important that, you know, you have kind of visibility and materials to be, you know, offering yourself as partners. We hope to work with the Newport City Council in much more broader kind of role in the future. So this procurement related kind of how would I say, pool could be utilized, but we don't know yet how that's going to pan out. But you can promote yourself also with the terminology using that you are a great social value delivery partner. And then companies nowadays understand what it means. That social value is kind of government procurement related terminology that is connected to that procurement practices. I know this is very technical, this language and whatnot, but when we started running the platform in 2017, we didn't set it up for the procurement reasons, but now most of the organizations are using it for that purpose. So that's why we talk about this. But I will hand now a turn for Daniel to speak, because we've been operating actively on this social value scene and of course with VCSEs for years. And we did some research during the summer amongst you guys across the country, but separate like a questionnaire for Wales, and kind of how you see this kind of partnership with private sector going at the moment. And also we asked some questions about this public sector procurement related social value, that has it actually affected you and brought you more resources on local level or not. And that we shared this report on the messaging or chat service here, so you can read it through, but Daniel could kind of give a little overview, because we published this just yesterday and we are very proud of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as Tia mentioned, in October 2024, the Procurement Act will be changing to move from the most economically advantaged application to someone that's just advantaged, so not focused on the economic but rather the impact. And that's really going to strengthen the social value impact and how private sector companies can partner with VCSEs. So as you know, a lot of you did take part in our survey, which we went through those questions that Tia just mentioned, and we basically wanted to know why isn't there more focus on those partnerships between the private sector and the VCSE? Because in the report we found that almost 20% of you, or over 20% of you, didn't see a change in the Procurement Act.
Only 20%. Only 20%.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Only 20%. Sorry, that's it. I was thinking the wrong way around. So only 20% saw a change with the Procurement Act coming into effect. That mandate social value to be part of the procurement bidding, and only 5% saw site skills gaps to secure partners as a primary issue. So we were trying to focus on what are the different issues and what are the barriers that are stopping partnerships between the private sector and the VCSE sector. The aim of our overall report was to give that voice to the VCSE sector and find out what you miss and what can build successful collaborations in the future. So as you can see on the screen, those are our key findings that we found throughout the report. It's kind of summarised there for you. But it really, essentially, the report for me as well, it underlined a critical issue within the cross collaboration, and that there needs to be a gap that bridges together the VCSE sector and the private sector, because we can see that VCSEs are keen to partner with private sector companies, but there needs to be better communication tools and systems that align your mutual goals together. And the only way is for the private sector to be giving those like funding, donations, partnerships, services to underfunded VCSEs that are trying to serve the communities that they are trying to get involved in. And it's also for like the public sector to bridge that gap, to help in bridging the gap between private sector and the VCSE sector. We want the public sector to also recognise, so we did share this report with the public sector, to recognise that there needs to be a relationship between VCSEs in the local areas that private sectors are trying to work in. There needs to be more accessibility. They need to be able to know that these VCSEs are available in the communities that they're serving. There needs to be more transparency and more monitoring systems so that the private sector are actually fulfilling the social value that they aim to set out at the start. And that is what Impact found in our VCSE report. Is there any questions on the report, or Tia, is there anything you wanted to add?
Well, it's of course that we as this kind of a tech for good company are speaking also for that, harnessing technology to that, that's the modern way of doing, and currently a lot of companies, they are Googling charities, they find the first Google hits and try to contact them and so forth, and there is just no information around, so it's no wonder it's difficult to find partners. And also, that's kind of how our platform and some other charity platform has been set up to kind of give more data about you guys, because you have to know quite a bit before you can be a match with the charity. There might be timing issues. Is some resource beneficial for you? Do you even want to have certain type of partnerships? Can you actually have volunteers, or can the volunteers actually even work with beneficiaries? There are a lot of these kind of restrictions which private sector actually, first of all, doesn't know, but also if there is no information about it or any platform to find out about it, it's very time consuming, and then it becomes kind of impossible. And also what we know from our own work with private sector companies, and which kind of VCSE comments in this research also verified, is that companies, they have really good intentions, and their volunteers they want to volunteer, and they have these schemes, one day in a year volunteer, and they want to go out and do group volunteering and have a nice day out. But that kind of volunteering doesn't suit to many kind of VCSEs, because they need longer term resources. They cannot necessarily take groups. They need someone to kind of commit. They need to train maybe people, do DBS checks and so forth, and then these kind of like interests, so to speak, or volunteering schemes and your needs don't align. And we have tried to bring this up kind of very clearly in this report. We put recommendations in the report, as you can see, and we've been already so far distributed this to over 20,000 organizations in the UK through our newsletter list, because we have a lot of government contracts, private sector and VCSE sector contacts, and this is kind of how we wish to impact kind of on your lives as well through this kind of a research work. Okay, any feedback? I think we are running out of time. Sorry. We thought that we'll be over in an hour, but no, never is. We are always talking too much, at least me. Yeah.
I think there was one question in the chat here just from Emma about if BCSE's partnerships include social value outcomes linked to the well-being of future generations, Wales Act 2015. I don't know if that's something that you'd know about or cannot.
Okay, just a moment. I'll just so does BCSE's part also yeah, so do you mean that do our platform have these included?
Hi, yes, thank you for that, Emma, studio response.
Yeah.
A lot of what we do, we're asked to do is to link with the Future Generation Wales Act. So it was almost like, are we dealing outside of Wales? It's a big question, so I apologise right at the very end.
No.
But would we have to report back on cross-border, the England new policies, as well as the Welsh policies, because they're very similar, great outcomes of social value, but again, would it be double reporting effectively?
No. So I don't think so. So if in terms of this, I know this Future Generations Act, and it's just that at the moment, because who needs the report where your outcomes are connected with these kind of certain frameworks like this act, is then that local government organizations requesting it, and we don't have now at the moment Welsh government who wants to have this for the procurement reasons. We are now working with Newport in Wales who wants this for shared prosperity fund outcome purposes.
Go back to Whitehall. It'll go back to the Whitehall.
But if suddenly, let's say, Newport City Council would say that, oh, we want to offer Newport matchmaking system for our suppliers, and we want to see the reports, we would be adding the Future Generations Act outcomes to our impact reporting as one of the drop-down menu.
That's great. Thank you. It's just less work. That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for your time, everybody. And contact us. It's just whatimpact.com, and the intercom button, this kind of messaging service, it pings several people's email, and we will respond in no time. So you can just ask a question or then set up also a call if you need that kind of a more one-on-one help. All right. I wish you all good luck with your fantastic programs.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.